Hi guys, it's Arielle. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about why I quit my job, packed my bags, and moved to France. I guess we'll start this story with my life pre-France. So before I moved to France, I was doing my undergraduate degree in Canada. And while I was doing my undergraduate degree, I was also working a 9-to-5 job at the same time. And honestly, this worked so well for me at the time. My employer was really flexible, so they would let me come to work every day. I would leave for a couple hours to go to class, and then I would come back and I would finish my workday at work. In the evenings, I would go home, I would study, and I would hang out with my roommates. And then on the weekends, I had a second job. I worked like a retail job during the days of weekends, and then in the evenings I had that time to spend again with my roommates and my friends. So at this time in my life, this worked really well for me. I had a good social life, I had a good academic life, I had a good professional life, and I was able to make enough money to pay for my education, which is quite expensive in North America, and also pay for my rent while I was studying. Now fast forward to the last semester of my degree. I was super lucky because my employer was actually willing to hire me right after graduation, and everybody urged me to take this job offer because of the stability that a 9-to-5 offers. With an office job, you have a consistent salary that you get paid twice a month. You've got a nice work week where you're working Monday to Friday and you have your weekends off. You've got insurance and you've got a pension which helps you long-term during your retirement. So overall, the deal sounds really good to a lot of people. But to me, all the potential benefits from a 9-to-5 job really do come at a cost. I guess during the last months of my degree, I just couldn't comprehend this idea that I would spend the vast majority of my adult life at work in an office. I kept thinking, you know, if I take this job, I'm basically signing up to work 9-to-5, Monday to Friday for the next 45 years of my life and only have 2 weeks of vacation per year to do the things that I want to do in my life. I don't know if my train of thought is coming across clear, but it had nothing to do with, you know, not liking my job or my colleagues. It was just the total opposite. You know, I loved waking up early and going to work. I loved the projects I was working on. I loved my colleagues, seeing them every morning, enjoying a coffee together. Like, I'm not saying that the work life was not good. I'm just saying that the work balance between work and play doesn't add up in my mind. I just think it's awful to think that the majority of our adult life days go towards working, and quite often working for another company or another person, not even working for yourself or towards your own personal growth. So just that thought of being trapped until retirement made me really sick. So I quit my job and I packed my bags and I moved to France. And I should mention that I did this with a loan, okay? Like, nobody was funding this vagabond lifestyle of like no responsibilities. You know, I took out a loan and I moved. And I took out a loan for a specific reason. I wasn't just like taking money to just travel the world. I decided that I would start by doing my master's degree in France. And the reason I did this is because it's so hard to get a long-term stay visa in France unless you have like a company lined up who's going to sponsor you and work with you on the visa application process. So for me to be able to move and get that long-term stay visa, I had to go back and study. So I decided to go back and do my master's degree, which is a 2-year program. And doing this master's degree gave me 2 years of a student visa to live in France, and then after my graduation it gave me a 1-year renewable work visa to stay in the country. Now you're probably like, Arielle, what are you saying? You are telling us that you quit your job, moved from Canada to France to now go back to school to eventually be able to work in France? Like, something isn't adding up. And I would say yes. It does sound a little bit like I'm contradicting myself, but hear me out. I'll make sense by the end of this. So I finished my degree, I moved to Paris, and I found a 9-to-5 job here in the city of love. So what's the difference? While I do believe that dedicating the vast majority of your adult life to work is just absurd, I also acknowledge that we live in a society where we have to work to be able to afford things like rent and groceries and a lifestyle that is relatively comfortable. So even though I am against working 9-to-5 for 45 years until you retire, I personally cannot financially support myself without a job. So getting a job is pretty much inevitable for most of us. But my loophole to this system is working abroad in a place that feels like you're traveling on a daily basis. France is a whole other world for me. You know, it's a brand new culture, it's a brand new language, it's new foods, it's new experiences, it's new landscapes, it's new sights to see. And so every single day of my life here, I'm experiencing something that's new. And so even though I might be walking to work with a croissant in my hand and a view of the Eiffel Tower, it gives me a relatively similar happiness to when I'm traveling, because to me, as corny as it sounds, every day really does feel like a new adventure. So essentially me moving to France, me moving to Paris is my way of compromising. You know, I'm still working a full-time 9-to-5 job, but I get to live somewhere that is totally foreign to me, and I get to live on a daily basis new experiences that broaden my worldview and change my soul. And I get to do all this while still supporting myself financially with that 9-to-5 job. Now that I've moved here, it really has opened up like a world of possibilities that I would have never had back home. You know, I'm learning a new culture, I'm learning a new language, and I also have had, because we're in a global pandemic, but I have amazing travel opportunities. Not only do I get to travel in France, which is a country that's insanely diverse in climate and like landscape. You've got the Mediterranean in the south, you've got the Alps in the east. France in itself is a place that I highly recommend you travel to, but not only do I get to travel within France, but because France is part of the European Union and part of the Schengen zone, it also makes traveling within Europe not only easy, but also more affordable. I've been able to surround myself with an international community of people who share similar ideas as me, have similar dreams and interests. I live in a totally different climate now, which has allowed me to develop new interests like gardening, for example, which is something that I really didn't get to do back home. And I was also able to complete a full master's degree at a fraction of the cost that it is in Canada. So I don't know, all that to say, I don't regret for a second quitting my job and moving abroad, even if now I'm talking about this all candidly, but like, don't get me wrong, there are so many struggles when you move and there are things that are uncertain and you're not sure if you'll be able to find a job. But once I figured everything out, living abroad and working abroad allows me to live my dreams and live an adventure, but still while working a kind of restrictive 9-to-5 office job. I know that living like this and even just being able to talk about my experience moving abroad is such a privilege. I know that's not something that's attainable for everyone, but at the same time, I really did work hard. Nobody funded my dream. Nobody funded my rent here in Paris. I guess I just want to say that if you have a dream of anything, you know, moving abroad or starting a new project, don't hesitate. Try and make that dream a reality sooner rather than later. I have had too many conversations in my life where I hear people say, "Ah, well, when I'm 40, I'll be more financially stable and then I can focus on that." Or, you know, if I work another 5 years, I'll have enough seniority and then I'll get 3 weeks of vacation instead of 2, and then I can do that trip that I've wanted to do my whole life. And it's so absurd to me to put your dreams off for decades. Life is so short. Life is way too short to see everything this beautiful world has to offer. And so yeah, that's why I moved to France. That's why I quit my job. That's why I moved to Paris. No one is gonna make you happy. You have to make yourself happy and you have to follow your own dreams. And I feel like we should all do that. I feel like that's such a lame way to end this video, but I moved here because it was my dream to move here, okay? And I found a way to make it work. And there is always going to be a way to make your dreams work, and it just takes a little bit of thought and time. I hope everything makes sense. I feel like I just sort of word vomited this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.